Facts on you are talking Nigerian female artists.
Yes, sir. Types of female artists.
Who is the leading female artist in Nigeria?
That's a very dicey conversation. From like the summation of everything, a lot of people are going to say it's Tiwa Savage, right? Because of what she's been able to achieve and the international success she's been able to achieve. But over the past 2 years, that conversation might not exactly have as much merit as we think it does. On the international side, Tiwa Savage is still Nigeria's leading female artist. If you want numbers, if you want a lot of things, Tiwa Savage is still that. But over here, over the past 2 years, that conversation might have shifted a bit. It has shifted a little bit towards Simi. Because Simi is not just a female artist anymore. She's not just an artist anymore. She has also become a kingmaker. Last year, Simi gave Ladipo a hit record, his first hit record. This year, she's giving the same thing to Chike. It's not a coincidence. It's become a trend. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, that's shame on you. Now, you can't fault it anymore. It is a trend. She is potent. The same year where she got pregnant and she wasn't in the country, Duduke became arguably Nigeria's biggest song of the year.
Okay. So let's start this conversation with what really makes a superstar female artist.
Yeah.
How do you judge them?
Number one, we have to look at the hit records. Number two, we have to look at the social currency. Number three, we have to look at the brand. Number four, we have to look at the features, the potency of their features. And number five, we have to look at the influence, like the pop culture influence. With Simi right now, you can quantify everything. The hits, for example, she might not have as much hits as over the past, say, 5 years or 3 years. No, over the past 3 years even. You can't mark Simi down on the conversation of hits because she's not just making hits for herself, she's giving hits to other people, which is harder to do, harder to achieve. Social currency, Nigerian mainstream these days, Simi is the sweetheart of Nigerian mainstream. They love her. The Twitter community might have problems with her, whatever, with some of the things she says. But Nigerian mainstream, forever they love her. Simi created the Duduke challenge last year. Through the roof. Endorsements for Simi in Nigerian mainstream. She has gone from the girl next door to the woman next door. Now she's the mommy next door. Everybody loves her. Her marriage is the toast of the Nigerian mainstream. Either you want to believe it or not. Everybody roots for her. Her baby is their baby. That's branding. Her fan base is everybody else. Because everybody finds a reason to like singing. That's social currency. The social currency is why she's going to get certain endorsements. It's why certain people are going to root for her, even when they might not necessarily want to root for her. Right now, the power of her features, it's also gone through the roof. So we have to look at how running is not just a Nigerian hit record now. It's going towards a Pan-African hit record. It's blowing up in Ghana, it's blowing up in East Africa, it's blowing up in even South America, Fiji. So you can't fault Simi. And right now, part of that is part of the influence that she has. The influence that she has, the first major Nigerian song that blew up on short-form video platforms is Duduke. Guess who made Duduke? Simi. Going forward, she's the one now. But it's amazing that nobody wants to say it. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's crazy.
Can albums influence, in terms of albums, how does she come into the conversation? How is she leading in this conversation?
Albums can influence it, but there's context to the conversation of albums. This decade, we're only 2 years into this decade. We're only 2 years into this decade. The last decade, in the first half of the last decade, we were significantly a singles market. So it might not be fair to quantify or to judge artists by albums, even though artists were releasing albums. But in terms of albums and Nigerian female artists, nobody has Simisola. If we want to go by albums as well, nobody has Simisola. Simisola won album of the year at the Headies. When Wizkid, Burna Boy, Olamide, a lot of people were having, Tiwa Savage were having an amazing run. Simi won album of the year. Deservedly so. And the wildest part, this album was not exactly the greatest Afro pop album. It was folksy, alternative kind of music. A little bit of R&B was also on that album. It was love music that's filled with sweet lamba that everybody loves. So right now, albums can come into the conversation because we're back to being a body of rock market right now. And guess what? Last year, Simi didn't drop an album. She dropped an EP. And guess what that EP was? Fantastic. Made our top 10 albums of the year. But the wildest part is a lot of people didn't listen to the album because it wasn't exactly a pop album. It's an R&B album. And still, the numbers were still not bad. The numbers were good.
So with all these, you're implying that Simi is the leading female artist in Nigeria?
Over the past 2 years, yes. We have to be able to say Simi is currently Nigeria's leading female artist. She is. It's a fact. Because you can't, what do you want to say? That she is not there. Her fan base is as formidable as anybody's fan base. Her fan base is everybody else. Mothers and fathers root for Simi. It doesn't get bigger than that. Simi is, even though like older people like root for people like Wizkid and Davido, we are talking about grown men. Our parents love Simi. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, it's not just young people. It's not young adults. It's not new parents. It's not 40-something year old. We are talking 50-something, 60-something year old Nigerians who love Simi. So hits, she's there. Social currency, she's there. Brand, she's there. Features, she's there. Influence, she's there. Albums, she's there. And over the past 2 years, 3 of the biggest songs in this country have come from Simi. Now you can say that in terms of features, Tiwa Savage, for example, has like given records to say BBC by Black Bones, Can't Let You Go by Steph London. But at the same time, you can't equate those 2 records, for example, to Know You with Ladipo or Running for Chike. They are not on the same level. So you can't really compare the impact. You can't compare the stance. You can't compare the quality of those records. Look, right now even, you are looking at a Simi that has transcended the level of like an artist right now. She has become like a whole ass brand. You run through your TV these days, you are seeing Simi on a number of ads. Do you know why she's there? She's there because she's Simi. People relate with Simi like anybody else. Her marriage or the type of personality that her marriage projects to people is the type that everybody wants to see. The day that they got married, when they had a baby, the only reason why Duduke blew up was because she shot the video. She shot the video where she was pregnant. It's their baby. That's how it is.
So you mentioned Tiwa Savage too. Yemi Alade is also a very huge artist in Nigeria. So how does she compare, to Yemi?
Yemi Alade is an outlier. She's an outlier in the sense that not a lot of people can pull Yemi Alade off, because Yemi Alade has not exactly had a hit in this country for over 5 years. Yemi Alade understands what works for her and what doesn't work for her, because Nigerians never really accepted her after Johnny. Nigerians we criticize her music more than we love her music. And a lot of times it's unfair, because what she's doing is, the lamba that she's doing in her music is the lamba that men are doing. And people hate her for creating lamba while they endorse men for doing the same lamba. So what she understood was, okay, you don't like me. My fan base is big outside this country. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to go outside into the country. I'm going to support my music with a lot of performances. I'm going to do a lot of choreography. And I'm going to do a lot of colorful videos. And I'm going to attract a Pan-African audience with my brand as Mama Africa. While Yemi Alade was not exactly the biggest artist here, she was winning 2 best female at the Mamas. You can't compare. A lot of people can't do what Yemi Alade does. Yemi Alade has found a way to exist in the grey. That's the thing about her. So that's why you can't exactly pick Yemi Alade as strictly above Tiwa Savage or Simi. She exists in a world of her own and by her own rules, where only Yemi Alade can exist. Simi is sort of existing in a way like that because she's not exactly your atypical pop star. She doesn't exactly go out of her. You won't see her clubs. You won't see her at some random places. She understands her brand and she ties directly to that brand. The brand is a household brand, and that's why most times the things she does ties into that brand. That's why the project she released last year was kind of different to what she has been doing.
Okay.
And people were surprised by it.
Other people will point to the fact that internationally she does not have like she does not represent us, as that Afrobeat star.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, it's not wrong. But at the same time, she's not going to put herself in your faces when like brands are not picking her. For example, her last EP was distributed by Platoon. That's an intentional deal. But she's not signed to a UMG where she's going to get the biggest project in the world. So the difference, there's a difference between there's a limitation to what she can do. And at the same time, her music is not exactly tailored to what like an international audience would gravitate towards. Maybe her last EP, which was very R&B-ish, might be appealing towards an international audience. But what the international audience wants from Nigeria right now is pop music with African essence. And she doesn't exactly make that kind of music. Like I said, she exists in the grey. Can Simi do that, get to an international market? If Simi is going to do that, she's going to need a label that really believes in what she's doing and wants to push her to do that on a greater scale. That is not impossible. But right now, it's not exactly what those guys are looking for. That's why that's a problem. But at the same time, if Simi gets the chance to do it, Simi is like, she's not just an artist. She writes, she produces, and she's also a performer. That's one thing a lot of people don't understand about Simi. We are lucky to have like female artists that can perform. So Savage can perform, Emma can perform. But people endorse those people. They neglect her. And sort of like Simi doesn't get her flowers a lot. And it's probably because she doesn't exist or project herself like the typical pop star. If Simi was moving like a pop star and she was showing you the moves of a pop star, she would probably get it. The same repeat. AG, Adekunle Gold, add a little bit of that too. Because his brand was also like her brand at some point. But he's found a way to evolve and become something else. That's why a lot of people are going to mention it in different conversations. So the brand perception is why Simi is not getting her flowers. It also badly reflects on people that Simi doesn't get their flowers because it means they are not attentive enough. And that's factual.